Dana has spent over a decade cultivating a more just, sustainable, and less wasteful world. In 2003, Dana launched a food recovery program at the Sarah Lawrence College to recover and redistribute surplus food from local businesses. And in 2012, she launched Food Shift. Food Shift seeks to strengthen food recovery infrastructure, provide jobs, and improve access to nutrition. Dana will present strategies for reducing food waste in Santa Clara County and beyond. Please welcome Dana Frasz.
First, before I get started, I want to say how excited I am at how far this movement has come in the past few years. It's pretty exciting. I know a lot of you in this room have played a role, so thanks for being a part of this shift. As Laura said, I launched a food recovery group in college 13 years ago, and it flourished, and then it eventually fell apart. And that's when I really started to question this all-volunteer charity model for food recovery. Started to ask these questions like, is it sustainable? Is it the most effective way to reduce waste and reduce hunger? Is there a more effective system that we might be able to develop that is more sustainable? These are some of the questions that Food Shift has been asking since our launch in 2012, and more recently in our work with Santa Clara County. As most of you know, California's Silicon Valley is one of the wealthiest places in the country, and yet in that region, 1 in 4 people and 1 in 3 children are at risk of hunger. Hunger is costing our nation a lot, $168 billion each year, and a new report by ReFed, which I encourage you to check out, says that we're spending about $218 billion on food that we never eat. So on one end, we're scrambling to feed people, and on the other end, we're scrambling to throw food away. It doesn't make sense environmentally, it doesn't make sense financially, and we have an ethical obligation and an opportunity to find solutions to this completely solvable problem. So in early 2015, Food Shift was hired by Santa Clara County to really look at why is so much food waste happening in the region despite all these food recovery efforts, and what can be done about it. So we came up with a report drafting all of these complex challenges around food recovery and our recommendations. You can check it out at foodshift.net/report. Food recovery is really complex, and it's much more complex than people realize. I often hear, oh, you should just drop it off at a soup kitchen, and there's really not an understanding of how much actually goes into food recovery. In order to really tackle this problem effectively, we have to understand the complexities. We also need to be able to step out of our understanding of what currently is in order to imagine what's possible. We can't build what we can't imagine. Today I'll give a brief overview of some of the challenges, some of the recommendations, some exciting new data in the sector, and what Food Shift is up to this summer with the launch of the Alameda Kitchen. As you see on the slide, the main challenge that came up again and again as we spoke with people, we spoke with dozens of businesses, food recovery organizations, food assistance groups, and again, the main challenge is infrastructure. There's all these groups out there doing really good work, wanting to collect this food, wanting to work with more businesses, but they don't have adequate vehicles, refrigeration, storage space, staff capacity, and sometimes even computers. One group said if we made millions of pounds of food available today, it would completely swamp the system. And that's one reason it's really essential that before we go asking for additional donations from businesses, which we do need, we need to make sure we first invest in the infrastructure and the logistics of the system. Businesses is the other major challenge in food recovery. Businesses really want to do the right thing, but often don't have the knowledge or resources. Often not knowing where to donate the food, they don't know about the incentives that are out there that could also be improved. Also don't know about the Good Samaritan Food Act, which I hope you all know about. And so there's a lot of opportunity around educating businesses in this space. Another complaint we heard from businesses is that food recovery groups are often unreliable and inconsistent. This goes back to the food recovery groups having limited capacity and resources to do their jobs professionally. and be on time and reliable. And just as I was walking up here today, I noticed the big dump trucks doing the recycling and trash. And in my mind, we really need to be thinking about how we can professionalize the food recovery space so that people who are working in this industry have the proper tools, resources, equipment, training they need to do food recovery safely and more efficiently. Foodshift.net/report is where you can get the full report. So what's next? Well, I'm really, really excited about what's happening in Santa Clara County. Santa Clara County, as kind of outcome of the report that we produced, is putting into place some actions right now. And one of them is happening this week. The Santa Clara Food Rescue Forum is happening on Thursday, bringing together about 100 stakeholders in the region to talk about food recovery. What are the challenges and how can we work together to address some of these issues? A big outcome that we hope to have from this forum on Thursday is also the creation of a working group that can meet more consistently to really work through some of the challenges. It's really important that the forum and the working group are diverse in terms of the people who are attending, so that it's not just food recovery groups. We need businesses, we need academia, we need policy, we need all of these folks coming to the table because this is an ecosystems problem, and so we need ecosystem solutions. I'm also really excited to share with you that Santa Clara County has hired a food rescue coordinator for the region. This is a full-time position that is specifically dedicated to looking at food recovery in the region. They will be coordinating the working group. It's a really big deal, and these recommendations we made were for Santa Clara County, but certainly we would make them for other regions as well. Alameda County is also doing some very good work. Alameda County just launched our own food recovery working group, and we hope you will join us at our next meeting. So why is this so important? Well, there's a lot to gain from investing in food recovery. It's been largely a sector that hasn't been invested in much in the past. These are some stats from a recent report that came out by ReFed. I encourage you to check it out. So we have about 1 million tons of annual diversion potential, thousands of jobs that could be created, and 1.8 billion meals that could be recovered and redistributed. But in order to get there, it's going to take about $8.7 billion worth of investment. So if we really want to see the food recovery sector grow and expand, we have to put our money where our values are and make food recovery a priority. Again, going back to the ecosystems part of this all, it's going to take policy, business education, and a massive investment in infrastructure and logistics. Another thing that's really important to me is that when we talk about food recovery, we remember who's on the other side of that food recovery. And if we really care about food access and food insecurity, that we acknowledge that food alone isn't going to solve hunger. And people do need to have jobs and employment. And that's in large part what leads FoodShift to be launching the Alameda Kitchen this summer. The Alameda Kitchen will process fresh fruits and vegetables from farms that would otherwise be thrown out. About 6 billion pounds of food right now are not leaving the farm because they're cosmetically imperfect. We'll transform that food into nutritious products that we can sell to low-income communities and organizations. In the process, we'll provide job training for the formerly homeless at Alameda Point Collaborative. We're really excited to make this happen. We're currently raising $400,000. We're looking for a refrigerated vehicle, and we're hiring a director of operations, a chef, and 2 AmeriCorps Vista volunteers to start this summer. So let me know if you're interested in any of that. Where did this come from? Well, DC Central Kitchen is my huge inspiration, and they've been doing this model essentially for 27 years, recovering incredible amounts of food, providing jobs for many, many people from disadvantaged backgrounds, and generating $7 million in revenue each year. So this is what's possible. We're bringing it to the Bay Area, and we'd love to have your support. This model gets me really jazzed up because it's holistic. It has a financially sustainable revenue model, and we can make it happen here. So in conclusion, I'm super jazzed about all the movement that's happening. Meaning the sector, had a segment on John Oliver. You may have seen us on the cover of National Geographic magazine. We're making huge, huge strides. And what I want to leave you with today is definitely go check out the report of ReFed and FoodShift's report. And just keep in mind, we have to invest in the infrastructure for food recovery. Right now, it's really lacking, and it's not because there aren't good intentions on all sides from both businesses and food recovery groups. So now's the time to make it happen. Let's do this.
I think most folks in the room are still waking up. That was amazing. Let's do a little bit louder. So, questions? Yes.
Yeah, Just Eat It is a really great film, and it's showing April 3rd in San Francisco as part of the Food and Farming Film Festival. And I have 10 free tickets. If people are interested, contact me. There's more information on the Food Shift website and Food and Farming Film Fest website. It's about people who eat from the dumpster for a month, and it's pretty amazing what they find.
Other questions?
Yeah, the question is how to get through the bureaucracy and challenges within schools, because you're not the only one that consistently experiences struggles with trying to donate surplus from schools. We did a project with the schools, OUSD Stop Waste, and we're able to expand a food recovery program to 14 schools. As part of that process, we're putting together a guide, a toolkit, essentially, for how other school districts can do the same. It's complex. There's a woman named Nancy Deming who might be here, and I think she's back there, and I think she's the best person to talk to about how to navigate some of that bureaucracy in the schools. It's true. It's really a tricky process. Thanks for asking.
Maybe one more? Yes.
Great, yeah, we're recovering food right now from imperfect produce, but we will also be purchasing food from farms and distributors. So we're talking with Veritable Vegetable, a great organic distributor. Alameda Natural Grocery is also a provider. Andronico's we've been partnered with for a long time, and so they're going to provide some food too. But because we need to have consistency in the products that we develop, we will be purchasing some food directly from the farms.
All right. Thank you, Dana.
Yeah, you're welcome.